Okay, now this one is going to be a bit more like a rant. Um, Going off from what I had watched yesterday, it was someone who was addressing how how his interactions with people who don't really read comics, people who are outside of that bubble that assume they know comics based off of other forms of media instead of what actually comes from the book. Now, for me, I tend to be more of a blogger. I tend to if I'm not writing articles for Analog Addiction, then I am blogging about comics on IGN. And sometimes you have those people who are non-comic readers and they want to get into an argument with you over applying real world logic to comic logic. Now, I think we all know what comic logic is, and of course, it's never supposed to make sense. There, now it creates its own sense, but there's no actual sense to it. And some of these people you argue with are wanna always want to pull this BS with you, where they say, "Oh, this doesn't make sense. This is why I don't like comics. Why can't real world logic be applied to it?" And before I get any further, it's like of course we all know comics aren't real, but they create their own rules, and what happens in the book happens in the book. You can't just pick and choose what you want to believe just because just because your intellectual superiority complex tells you that this is right and this is wrong. Like I think one time I got into an argument because Uncanny X-Men is probably one of my favorite books, and this girl wants to tell me that Magneto that no matter how the writers write Magneto is evil. It's like, okay, are you just going off of the fact that you know that he's a that from that you know he's a villain and what he does as a villain? Or do you actually read, or have you actually kept up with him throughout the years as he made that transition to what we can actually call a hero? And of course, what does she say? She says that she goes off of what he did as a villain. Pulls some bullshit excuse saying, Magneto is a terrorist. He killed a whole bunch of people. You can't excuse that. It's stupid. It's stupid that anyone can look at him as a hero, or say, oh, just because you did some good deeds, you can be excused from all this. That he should still have to answer for his crimes. And it's like, okay, but he answered in his own way. If you actually paid attention to anything in the comics, you'd know that mutants are accountable for mutants. As they all say, mutant problems, mutant solutions. He he atoned for what he's done. He's made a public apologies. He brought back Kitty from space. He served by their side during Second Coming, during AVX. Even now, he's while you can still question him, without a doubt he has devoted himself to actually helping the cause rather than create harm, because he saw that up till now he really hasn't done anything to progress mutant equality. And the thing is that even if I were to talk about this, you would have these narrow-minded people who just create this one-sided argument where no matter what you say, they already drew the line at what they think is logical, saying, yeah, but in the real world you can't get away with this. And it's like, well, we're not talking about the real world, we're talking about the comics, we're talking about the X-Men, we're talking about mutants. It's different rules altogether. And they just had this elitist mindset where no matter what you say, you're just always wrong. This goes for anything. Um, you try to explain something in the simplest fashion. Maybe in the Avengers movie, you want to talk about Shield, how they have the highest authority, and someone would tell you that makes no sense because the president should have the highest authority. And you just think to yourself, how in the world do you explain this to someone who who um who wants to apply real world politics and military structure compared to something like Shield? It's like it's like no, it's just mind numbing, really, because you just feel like you respect the source, you respect the direction that they take, you respect these characters, and then you have these other people who really don't give a damn. They just want to say screw the source, screw what this person says, and that person said jump off a bridge, but you jump off. And then you just wonder, why are you even in this conversation? Why do you even insult our intelligence by telling us what is logical, what makes sense, what is right and what is wrong, and just giving us that straight line and basically telling us that what we read is shit. Now, now I really hate to be that person, but personally, I just can't stand these people, and sometimes it just gets to that point where you just want to say, you either read the stuff I'm talking about to actually know what you're talking about, or you just don't say shit at all, because I will actually say that you're just going to make yourself sound stupid by trying to by trying to create an argument where you're really just pulling what bullshit really just comes out of your head instead of what comes out of the source of material. Because I or let's say if this was Walking Dead or something, and let's see, and then yeah, some people were saying this is stupid, this is not what people do in a zombie apocalypse, that's not how this person's supposed to handle that situation, that's not how this person's supposed to handle this situation, this doesn't make sense. And it's like, okay, well, it doesn't matter what you think is right. What's right is how these characters are portrayed, not only in the books, but how they are adapted onto screen. Because that's not it's not how you think they would react. This is how that person reacts. That's how they're written to react, and that's how they react to the world they're in, the world that's created around them. In general, when we're talking about comics, we're talking about the world that's created around them, the rules that are created around them. You can't just make it up as something that makes sense only to you. It's what makes sense to everyone as a whole. And if really you can't accept that, then you really just gotta shut the hell up. I mean, I don't really see how you can have the authority to tell someone what really just makes more sense. I mean, there's not really much to say about that, but this goes for anything, whether it's comics, movies, anything adapted onto TV. It just the same rules apply. You just can't make it up yourself. I mean, if you're one of those people and you're listening to this and you have a problem with it, then really that's your problem. It's not mine, and obviously I really wouldn't give a shit if it really offends you, because because I actually feel offended. I know other readers should feel offended when they find themselves in these kind of situations, because it's nerve-wracking, and honestly I wouldn't really know how to respond to that person without it being aggressive, defensive, offensive. Really, the person brings it upon themselves what reaction they get from you.